something. Hope you think that you're something too. Okay, guys, I'm just waiting for Becky to show up. Something. I have to turn this down. Hope you think that you're something too. There we go. Okay. Okay, I don't know where Becky is. So I'm just going to start talking because I said that I would go on at 10:30 and I'm already a couple minutes late. I do believe that Becky can join while I'm live on here, and I've been messaging her. I'm like, hello, where are you at? So I'm just going to start talking then, and this must be the way that it's meant to go. I'm not exactly sure because I do this Zoom to YouTube, so I'm not exactly sure how to engage with you guys. I'm just learning how to do this stuff. So please bear with me and thank you for your patience. So what we want to talk about today is empowered women empower women. And this is something that I've been talking about for years. When I first started, I'm, one of the first girls in the Canadian tattoo scene. When I first started wanting to be a tattoo artist, there was no woman that I knew of. That was back in 1989 when I started hanging around the local tattoo shop. I was like 14 years old, drawing tattoo designs. The guy's like, yeah, they're their kid, and just kind of pat me on the head. But he didn't tell me to buzz off. So I thought I belonged, and I never really was told otherwise until I was actually pursuing becoming a tattoo artist. Even the guy who trained me was like, women shouldn't be tattooing. So when you're kind of fighting an uphill battle your whole life, like a lot of women understand this, especially women in business, it can get disheartening. And then the really ugly side of it is when other women try to cut you down at the knees so that they can get ahead. When other women see what you're doing and they like what you're doing, and they start rumors and they start spreading gossip. And I have been hurt more in my life. Like I've been through some shit, but I've been hurt more by women who do nipple tattoos, other women who do nipple tattoos, than any other women in my life. There's this toxic femininity that we see, and this cattiness and this dishonesty and this competition. So I've always tried to create community wherever I go to the best of my ability, because I never really felt like I belonged, because I was trying to get into something. I love the tattoo. I love tattoo. I love the art form. I just have a passion and this deep love. Tattooing is my first love. Tattoo is my first love, my only love, really. So all I wanted to do was be involved with this thing that I love with all of my heart. And because it was always guys, I never saw this side of things. Dudes just don't act like this. So that's why I really wanted to start delivering the message about empowered women empower women. At the same token, there's the shadow side of that is hurt women, hurt people, hurt people. We see that and we hear that. And it's true. So if this is true and if this is factual, how do we work with it instead of against it? Because I recently started talking to a new coach, and she's like, this is just business. You got to let it go. And I'm pretty angry about some of the way that I've been treated. I got to be honest. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to voice my anger so that I can work through it, so that I can heal from it and move on. The first thing that we have to do is we have to empower ourselves to see things for as they are and say, yeah, I feel this way. Like somebody who's going into, say somebody who got a cancer diagnosis and has a really hard time just admitting that they're scared, because they've been in control their whole lives. They've held it together. They've helped everybody else. And sometimes that hardest first step for us is just to go, I am terrified. I'm angry that I got this cancer diagnosis. People, these women, people, anybody with a cancer diagnosis. I eat healthy. I take care of my body. I live a good life. I've been a good person. Why me? Sometimes it's okay to just be mad. Like, fuck, why me? And learn to work with it. That's how we empower ourselves. We look at what we have objectively without bias and just learn to work with it. It's just that easy. So what's been coming up for me a lot in conversation lately, and forgive me, I'm just going to keep checking my messages here to see if Becky is messaging me to tell me she's having a hard time signing on, because I've completely lost her here. Yeah, I've completely lost her. So what she might be doing, I know that she was going down to her tattoo studio to talk to us and join us from there. What might be happening is her internet might be down because in England the internet's becoming more and more intermittent. So I'm just going to keep talking about this, and this might be a conversation that we have part 2, part 3, part 4. Maybe you're watching right now. Maybe you wish that you could be in here involved with me. I wish I could send you my Zoom link. But you know what? If you send me a message right now on Facebook, if Becky can't make it on this call and you send me a message on Facebook, I will share the Zoom link and join you to invite you to join, I should say. I really try to do everything in my life unrehearsed, which means that I make mistakes, and I'm not really sorry because it's totally fine to make mistakes. With stuff like this, as long as we're doing our best, nobody's perfect. We have to stop having this expectation or these ideas that life is perfect, because it just ain't. It just ain't. One more time on Becky. Yep. Okay, so I'm not hearing from her. Okay, so women's empowerment. Doom, doom, doom. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good thing is we can lift each other up. We can help each other be amazing, feel amazing, learn more, do more, be more. We can help each other rise. We can help each other grow. We can help each other heal. Women used to get together in circles, healing circles, and help each other heal. They were the emotional backbone of their society. The bad, women's lib came along and started getting us thinking for ourselves, trying to, get ahead in a man's world and work. And there's a real masculine energy that we have to carry to succeed in business in the way that things are. And this this isn't a raw feminism type of thing, but we do have a patriarchal society. And the only thing that you need to see to prove that is there is less than 50% women in government. That's all it takes. So Iceland has changed that. There's a few countries that have changed that, and the entire countries are in way better shape because they invite more of the feminine representation into authoritative spots. So that's why we want to get together and start to make sure that this happens. First thing we have to do is be the type of woman that can be trusted with those positions of authority. Because one of the reasons that men don't trust us to run companies is because they see women backstabbing, trying to steal boyfriends, gossiping, lying, catty, freaking crap. And they're like, oh, women are too emotional. They can't be trusted. And I've let my emotions get the better of me. I've made that mistake. And then I've seen the mistake and I've healed it. I've reached out to my friends and been like, oh man, I totally had a moment of weakness and snapped at a student. I totally did. And then I acknowledged my mistake. I apologized, and then I committed myself to doing better, because apology and change behavior is all we can do, right? Now, if anybody expects me to be able to do more than that, then that's their expectations, because I did my best. I saw it, I healed it, I changed it. And that's how we do. We got to support each other through these. See it, heal it, change it. The ugly part is, so we've mentioned the good, we mentioned the bad, and now we're mentioning the ugly. Sorry, reminder. The ugly part of it is this. It's easier to talk bad about someone than to talk good about them. And there's a thing called negativity bias. Negativity bias starts when we were cavemen. And so if you came along and you're like, oh, I'm going to go over there and take a number 2, I'm just going to be over there. And I'm like, oh, so-and-so saw a bear there earlier. Be careful, right? And I warn you. So you feel relieved. Now you got a warning. You're grateful to me for warning you, because I didn't have to warn you. I could have let you go over there and get killed by the bear, because the bad side of society is, hey, it's better you than me. But that ain't the way I operate. So I'm like, there's a bear over there. There's your warning. I don't know if I would go over there if I were you. And so now we just bonded over a negative thing. So we've been reassured by this negativity bonding. We have a bias now. We're bonding with a bias. There's Becky. Oh, hold on a second. It's she got the time wrong. which is totally acceptable because maybe this needed to happen. Yeah. Okay, so she's going to jump on as soon as she can, and until then I'm going to keep talking about this negativity bias. So you can understand how instinctually we be kind of programmed to bond over negative things. Now what happens is, fast forward a few hundred years, I'm not in danger of a bear. Like I'm pretty cushy right here. Like I'm cozy, I got electricity, I'm inside, I have warmth, I have safety, you know. Like these days we don't need those warnings. We don't have the life-threatening dangers. We're kind of top of the food chain right now. It might not always be that way, but today humans are kind of top of the food chain. So we're not really threatened by bears. They're not coming into our apartment complexes. So negativity bias is still here though. It's still a part of our DNA. It still wants to keep us safe from threats, right? So once we can identify this, we got to see it for what it is. Then it won't rule us anymore. Awareness, the light of illumination, enlightenment. That's what this talks about. Enlightenment just means seeing things for what they are. That's what it is. The good, the bad, and the ugly. See it for what it is. You've illuminated it. Now you can see it. Now you can work with it. So since we still have this in our DNA to keep us safe from danger, but we really don't have to hunt for food or garden, you know, you just walk in a store, you trade money for items now. So we have extra energy that our animal body, like we're mammals, so our animal body isn't used to having as much energy as we have now while we have everything kind of done for us. So what are we going to do with that extra energy? We can use it to create, or we can use it to destruct. Destructive energy is the negative side of things. Creative energy is the empowering side of things. Following? I'm actually really glad that Becky isn't on right now so I can express this thought before she joins us. So we have creation and destruction, which can be the same side of, it's like both sides of one coin. Follow along with me here. I really want to inspire you to see your life in a little bit of a different way. I want to inspire you to a little shift in perspective, because there's beautiful ways that we can unite and connect. So if you're struggling with something, I'm going to say, okay, how do we turn that into a creative force? How do we work with that? How do we use that to build you what you want? I see your fear. Fear is just a chance for us to cross our T's and dot our I's and be prepared for what we're worried about is coming. It's not something to get us stuck behind or get us like not moving. It's just like, okay, this thing may happen. And if it does, what am I going to do about it? What am I empowered to do about this thing if it happens? So we've examined a little bit about negativity bias, and that bonding over trauma response really is kind of part of it. And so how that shows up in this modern day age, because we have an abundance of energy and we don't really know how to use it, because sitting on your phone isn't like doing this is not utilizing that energy. So what it turns into on the destructive side of things, on the negative side of things, on the toxic side of things, is it turns into gossip. It shows up as gossip. And the way that you recognize that is when somebody is nice as pie to somebody's face and they are not that same way. When you see two sides of somebody, they have a disconnect in themselves that they're projecting out. Okay, they need some healing. So don't even, like, unless they hurt you specifically, don't even get mad or judge them for being like that. That just shows where they need to heal and reconcile their own spirit, their own soul. So how do we heal? Creation. We create space to acknowledge our feelings. We create time for ourselves. We create habits that nourish and nurture us, right? So one of the reasons I love working with breast cancer survivors is because they've gone through a destructive process and they're on the other side of it. By the time I see them, their scars are healed. Now they're getting into a creative process. Now they're starting to create the life that they want to see. Now they're starting to create the relationships that they want to nurture, the relationships that nurture them back. So now we're going to talk about confirmation bias, which is equally as important and as powerful as negativity bias. Negativity bias is just our go-to because we're kind of conditioned by the world to look for danger, to look for things to be aware of, to look for things that might be a threat to us potentially. but we have to retrain ourselves to sit back and look for things that might nourish us and support us and grow us and love us. Look for the people in our lives that are inspiring us and connect with them more. Create stronger bonds with those people that inspire us. Create ways to inspire others. That's why my saying is be inspired, inspire others. So anytime that you feel negative, you're kind of on the downside of things, you're trying to work through it. Talking about it is just a way of working through it, as long as it's venting and not perpetuating. We have to learn the difference. We have to train ourselves to recognize that difference. Yeah. Okay. So confirmation biases feels good. You're doing great. Yeah, it's hard. I see your struggle. I see you. I see you, sister. I'm here for you. How can I help? What can I do for you? Yesterday, some friends of mine were out of town camping for a couple weeks, and they got home really, really, really late on Saturday night. So I had a little plan that I was going to surprise them with breakfast. I did just that. I waited until 10 o'clock. I called them just to make sure that they all hadn't already cooked. I'm like, let them sleep in a bit. I'm like, put on some coffee. I'm bringing you breakfast. I can't wait to hear about your trip. And I went and rounded up breakfast for everybody. And I went over to their house and I spent a couple hours with them, and we ate and we talked and we hugged. And that's a way that you can make a positive difference in your life and in the lives of others. That's a creative way to live. A destructive way to live would have just been like, for me, sitting at home like, when are they going to call me? We have the choice in every minute. This is how we choose happiness. If somebody tells you happiness is a choice, this is what they're referring to. It really is. You just have to remind your brain until it becomes a new habit. Yeah? That makes sense, right? Okay, so I'm hoping that Becky joins me soon, because oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay, so I'm giving up on that. I think she thinks it's at 11, even though she just posted the thing where I put 10:30, unless I'm wrong about it. So if you guys are listening right now, if you're live on YouTube, I'm going to clip over to my YouTube channel and see if anybody has made a comment. I don't know if I can catch this live. This will just take me a minute. You don't have to watch very long of me staring at my phone here. I just have to double check this. Yep, 10:30. It's okay. I never, ever, ever get mad at somebody for making a mistake. And I expect the same grace in return. Okay, grace. Let's talk about grace for a second. What is grace? I did a little live on my Instagram channel a couple weeks ago about grace, because this plays into this, giving each other the grace to be who we are, to express each other how we want to express ourselves in that moment. When we can live in an authentic way and we can inspire one another to live in an authentic way, then life starts to get really magical. If you are late, or you say the wrong thing, or it comes out different than you intended it, because maybe you're processing something else in your life as well, and both of those energies are kind of colliding, but you still have to do your day, I'll never judge you for that. If I'm confused about what you're saying, I'll just ask you, like, is this what you mean? And if I'm hurt by what you're saying, I might tell you, like, I feel a little hurt. Did I take that the wrong way? I take ownership for my feelings. So I give myself the grace to honor my feelings without expectation of the other person. Grace starts within. Empowerment starts within. Everything starts within. Now, I'm one of those people who's a hard-headed, opinionated kind of person. I've learned all these lessons the hard way. This shit didn't come easy to me. But that's why I feel it's so important to share it, because it's like do as I say, not as I do. And if I can help you honor yourself first, so you don't have to kind of create the chaos in your life that I created in my 20s, then maybe it's my suffering is like, there's like a purpose behind it, you know. That's how we pay it forward, because it heals us, and it helps us grow, right? So grace is where you say, okay, this happened, and it's okay. Grace is where somebody comes to me and like some people say, come correct. It is important to do your best. But if you just got a phone call or a text on the way down there and you're just kind of, your subconscious is trying to process it because it is going to affect your life possibly in a way that you want to prepare for, I don't expect you to show up in my life anything other than what you are right there in that moment. And I would love to be able to ask the same of you, that if I show up and I just almost got hit in a car accident at the corner right before I turned the corner and pulled in to come and meet you, and that energy is up in me, I'm just like, I'm trying to like come down, breathe it out, like, holy crap, that scared the crap out of me, like, oh my goodness, right? And I'm processing whatever just happened that you don't know about yet. I do expect you to give me the grace to just be in that moment. So this is why good vibes only is could be toxic, and it can be harmful in the way that you can't expect everybody to have good vibes in every moment because you would prefer it that way. Sometimes we're dealing with shit. Sometimes we just had a fight with our mom or our brother or our boyfriend or whatever. Sometimes we almost got in an accident and we're feeling a little terrified at the moment. Sometimes a payment fell through and we don't know how we're going to make up for that rent, and we don't want to talk to somebody about that because it's embarrassing to talk in this society about our financial. Nobody wants to talk about finances. Nobody wants to talk about religion or politics. But these are the things that we should be talking about because this is how we can empower each other to grow. We have to feel safe with each other. And the way that we feel safe with each other is grace. Grace introduces that. Grace has to come above it because I'm going to give you the grace to be who you are, which means that you feel safe to talk to me about anything because you know I'm not going to judge you. And I won't. And I'll listen to the best of my ability. And I'm kind of an advice giver, so I might like over offer advice where you then have the opportunity to say like, I just want to be heard right now, Stace. And I'll go, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's a good boundary. I'll respect that. Grace, empowering each other, being authentic. This is the way to live. This is the path to happiness, really, in my opinion. So just kind of keep showing up as who you are. Allow others to show up as who they are. And when people can start being who they are and being authentic, life can start getting really good. If we don't have the idea that we have to like pretend like we're okay when we're not, because we can only bury so much. And burying your feelings often leads to sickness. It leads to anger for sure. It leads to people snapping at other people and like just repressing yourself. It's never the way to go. So I just want to inspire you to feel empowered to honor your feelings. Get right with yourself in that it's okay to feel sad or angry or anything. You know, some of the stuff that I've battled with in myself the most has just been my own fear of being like, I'm scared or I'm mad. So my friend Norm said to me once, this changed my relationship with myself dramatically. He just asked me, what do you need that you're not getting? Not what do you need? Right? Because that's one thing. I'm off. I need this, not, you know. He said, what do you need that you're not getting? That made me think to the next thing. I was like, wow, that's a really powerful question. I didn't expect to be this floored by that particular question. What do I need that I'm not getting? Well, because my needs are met. I got a nice little apartment. I got electricity. See, these lights are on. My computer's on. I have electricity. I'm warm. My needs are met. There's a little bit of food in the fridge. Like, what do I need that I'm not getting? My needs are met. I got water. I got coffee. I got everything I need. What am I mad about? That started getting me thinking, what am I mad about? And I'm like, oh, I'm not mad. I'm scared. Anger feels better than fear. Anger feels better than sadness. So that's everybody's go-to. So give other people the grace. If they come to you with anger, give them the grace to explore that anger and maybe guide them through it a little bit. That's how you empower one another. Guide them through it a little bit because you know Anger masks sadness. All emotions are love or fear based. Sadness is going to come from fear. The root of it is going to be fear in some way. So when someone's mad and they're having a little spaz or they're having a little temper tantrum, because we're all just a bunch of big 5-year-olds, aren't we? Aren't we? We all love our ice cream. We don't want to clean our room. Like we want to go play. Like we're all just a bunch of kids when it gets right down to it. So somebody's having their little temper tantrum, that's fine. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. They're processing something. They're releasing some feelings. And then let them release, give them the space, give them a safe space, hold space for them. That's what holding space means. Give them a safe space to express what's happening. As they're talking through it, they'll start to hear their language. Their solutions will start to appear. They'll start to go, yeah, I'm just mad about this, and I wish this person hadn't done that, and blah, 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 and they'll go through whatever it is that they're going through. If you give them room to do that, if you give them room to be seen and be heard, I see you, I hear you, I'm here. Don't take any of it personally. There's a very little chance it's about you. And if it is about you, give them space to be like, you did this and it sucked. And then you can go, oh, well, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, that's cool. Well, I took it this way. Have a little conversation. When you honor your feelings and empower each other to honor their feelings, then those conversations take 30 seconds and they're cleared. When we don't honor and empower ourselves to just go through those processes, it can stew and it can sit and we can get angry and it can start seething out on others and we can project it. And, like that's where that disempowerment comes from. That's where toxicity can start to grow, and it doesn't feel good. You know the difference because it either feels good or it doesn't. Tara Taylor taught me that. If it feels good, then there's a pretty good chance that that's the truth for you. So give somebody the space to start talking through their feelings, and you'll hear them, and then you can offer like, may I give you my opinion? Because it's just an opinion, may I give you my opinion? And maybe you can say back to them, like, because what I hear you saying is you're sad that this person hurt you. Are you just sad? Is that why you're angry? That person might go, fuck, I am sad. I really love that person. Is there anything more empowering than that? Just getting through the shit together to get to the end and just be like, yeah, I'm really sad. I love that girl. I love that girl. And she hurt me. And I don't know if our friendship is going to survive this, because we all go through that. We have to empower each other to be okay with it. We all go through this. For that person to go, that person fucked me over. I'm pissed right off. My boss said this, or that person lied about me or whatever. Then you can go, okay, cool. What do you need that you're not getting? Oh. Well, if a rumor was started about me, then I don't feel heard. I want to be heard. I want to be seen for who I am, because that's not who I am. That's a very real thing for a lot of us. I've been going through it myself. So when my friends empower me to just recognize that, I want to be heard. I want to be seen for who I actually am, not seen for who they say I am. Because the problem isn't what they said. The problem is that you believed it. I want you to believe me, because I know me. I know what I'm about. Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And Becky isn't here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip off this talk here. And then if Becky joins, I might go live again. We might go live again, because I kind of ran out of things to say. We had a couple points that we were going to make about our industry. We're both tattoo artists and we both do nipple tattooing. And there's seems to be a lot of competition and stuff these days. And yeah, that can hurt. That can hurt. And like I was saying at the beginning of this talk, somebody told me, I was talking to someone over the weekend, and they're like, that's just business, sweetie, get used to it. And I said, no, I don't think I have to get used to it, because that's kind of like saying boys will be boys and just letting them be little assholes. That's one of the things that perpetuates rape culture. That's one of the things that perpetuates bullying. What if I decide that I don't have to be okay with it? What if I decide that I want to use it as a way to inspire other women to be better? What if I want to call out people who gossip? What if I want, myself included? If I gossip, I catch myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Okay. So then I'm like, immediately, I'm like, okay, here's what I'm mad about. I'm mad that this happened and I wish this had happened instead. And I've learned how to catch it and turn it, awareness can turn it into an empowering thing, just like that, just like that. Shift in perspective, just like this, guys, just like that. It can happen just that fast, and we can turn something ugly into something beautiful, just like that, as long as we honor it. So I want to say, what if we don't say that's just business? What if we say, you hurt that woman on purpose. You're trying to make yourself look better by making her look worse. Because this is the ugly side of business, and the ugly side of competition. And we don't have to support it. We can heal it by saying, if somebody's saying something about someone else, you can say, yeah, but what do you love about that person? How do they inspire you? What did they inspire you to do? Even if you don't like them in the moment, or you don't agree with this thing that they said or did, how have they inspired you? And if they haven't inspired you and you're recognizing this thing in them that you don't like, how can you help them? Should you go have a conversation with them about it? Do they need to hear this? Would it take an email? Like, what if you told them this? What if you said this? And start thinking about solutions and start thinking about helping. That's how we turn this around. That's how empowered women empower women. Empowering women and empowering people in general, but I'm speaking about women because we are kind of in a patriarch, you know, like it is. If there was more women in the government, I might not be feeling this strongly about it. Until there is more women in the government, I'm going to say we still need to empower women. And the way that we do that does not look like, you're strong, you got this, pat you on the head, off you go. That is not empowerment. That is dismissive. It's a little bit cheerleading, but it's not empowering, because if that woman is really struggling with something, she might feel minimized. That struggle might feel dismissed. She might feel like, yeah, I really am on my own, nobody gets it. And that can be really disheartening. And that can cause really, really talented people to give up. Yeah. So empowering is empowering the light parts, the fun parts, the good parts. We can't really label things as good or bad. I say this all the time. So the stuff that's like feels good, that we want to embrace and have more of, and we want to reject the stuff that feels bad. I don't like that. That's not a good feeling. It's bad. I don't like that. It doesn't feel good. Reject it. The thing is we have to see it all and embrace it all. We have to bring it all into our being. We have to take it all in. We have to say I really enjoy and respect and appreciate this thing, and I'm really happy to have this in my life, and I'm grateful for it. And this other thing over here that doesn't feel as good is just as important. It doesn't have to, you don't have to turn it into a lesson. It doesn't have to mean anything. It doesn't have to be like, well, you learned something from it. It just is part of it all. That's why the yin and the yang is so powerful and important. The yin and the yang symbol, the dark and the light, the black and the white, the night and the day, like all of these things are life. Just embrace them all. Don't judge them. Don't judge them. Don't judge the things you don't like. Embrace it. It's just part of it. Just like stubbing your toe. It's just a thing. You'll get over it, it's all just part of life. It's all just part of life. Life will never be good vibes only. So the last thing that I want to say about this is about good vibes only, because we are animals, and animals communicate non-verbally. We communicate through energy. And you know that because deer in a field, if there's a perceived threat, will all run in the exact same direction at the exact same time, and nobody said nothing. That's energy. We communicate with energy. We're animals, make no mistake, we're animals. We're just a different type of animal because we're self-aware. So since deer and nobody was like, oh, hey, Bob, I think there's there's a bear, like, which way should we go? They all just run in the same direction at the same moment. Nobody looks at each other. Nobody says anything to each other. They're just gone. So we know that we communicate with energy. As we evolve and grow into more energetic knowledge of ourselves and of each other, we do start to feel other people's energy. So when people are like vibe, you know, like it's actually true. We actually do. It's measurable. They've been able to photograph energy traveling and moving. Like this is measurable. It's scientifically proven. We can't deny it anymore. This is a fact that we have to learn to live with. And as we learn to live with it, we might pick up on somebody, especially like if you've been cut off in traffic and that like, you know what that feels like, and somebody else has been cut off in traffic recently and they come in with that feeling and immediately you're like, you have a response, like, because that's like a nonverbal communication of a perceived threat. Oh, you know, you like feel that like it comes up. Don't be like, I hate that person for making me feel that way, because you responded to it, because it's in you. So the key to this, the key to freedom here is to be like, whew, oh, I feel that person. I wonder if they need my help. Because if you felt it, maybe you've just been asked by the divine to help them. You might do better, not to reject them or judge them. You might do better to, if that feeling persists, to be like, go over to them like, are you okay? Is everything okay? Quietly, you know, don't make a deal out of it. Don't even say anything about it. Go over to that person like, is everything okay? They might just be like, oh my God, I just got hit. I just almost hit a pedestrian, or I just almost got cut off, or whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, they might be like, oh my God, my heart's just racing, right? And then they feel seen and heard. And that's how we help each other heal. That's how we empower each other to be our best. That person might just be like, whew. And you'd be like, oh my God, this happened to me last week too. Oh my God, like it totally, like it took me like 3 hours to calm down. Seen, heard, acknowledged, accepted, inspired. I just encourage you all to never, ever, ever disempower something based on your judgments, your feelings, your fears, your perceptions. That's what empowering women is all about. That's what empowering each other is all about. That's what empowering ourselves is all about. And when you can start making these little shifts in your day, like just little by little, please take what I'm saying to heart. If you don't already, most of us do this already. But if you're kind of like entertaining these thoughts and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, and you start integrating these little ways of looking at things where you're like, how can I help that person? My friend Norm always also says, always give more than you expect to receive in return. Always give more, be of service, give to others. But giving doesn't mean buying them things or giving them money. Giving just means like giving them that energy and that space and that time and that attention, paying attention, because it is a commodity. So when you pay attention to somebody, that might be all they need. Right? It's these little tiny interactions. It's the little things. It's always the little things. These little tiny interactions are going to be the thing that makes the biggest difference for the person who needs it in that moment. That's all I got to say about that. Have a great day. I might come back on with Becky. I don't know what she's